welcome to the new Diving Live. I see Tensive Lines already here. Our remix contest winner. Nice to see you online, my friend. Enzo, my student. Great you're here. And tonight, I have no one else than Timmy P. So let's get into the Zoom call. Zoop. Here we go. Hey, Timmy, we're
Hey,
online.
buddy, how's it going?
Yeah, good, good. I'm happy to have you on here. Super nice.
Oh, mate, so it's a pleasure to be here. I feel like I've got a bit of an imposter syndrome going on right now.
Oh, why?
I've been watching it for such a long time, so it's great to be asked. So thank you very much.
Yeah, nice. Of course, man. It's lovely that you want to share some of your production work. You've been a busy man. Strictly Rhythm.
Yeah.
Do Not Sleep.
Yeah.
7 Dials. I'm forgetting like half at Madhouse. And
yeah. It's a great list, and I've been very lucky to work with those labels. They've been amazing to work with. Strictly was always like a big goal of mine. It was never like sort of back in the day when I first started making music, I never thought that would be achievable. So I was really relieved to
Strictly Rhythm
to do some work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've had I've got loads of Strictly records here and stuff. So it was great. It was so good to release on there, and great label. So yeah, very happy with it.
Can imagine. I remember when we were, because Josh Butler put me onto you, and then I started following you. We had a little chat. Like, I said, why don't you come on the show? I love your stuff, and let's do something. And when I saw you release on Strictly, it really made my mind go back in the day when I think it's like, man, it must have been. It's 23 years or so. I was like 15 when I started DJing, and I had these Strictly Rhythm records, like with this wall on it, Strictly Rhythm. It's super.
Oh yeah, the infamous like brick wall. It's amazing. It's still so iconic, and it still looks so good now. But I love the artwork. I still love the artwork. It's been going through a bit of a transition, the label, I think, recently. But I think they're still releasing and things, so it's great.
Yeah, that's good. Of course, they cannot keep on releasing like classic stuff, but they still release some proper stuff. So I really liked your release on there as well. Jordan is also very up for this one. Jordan Scott, thanks for tuning in. Nice. We've got quite a few people watching actually. It's nice.
Oh, great.
So we can have a little look into one of your projects later on. It's going to be the Woofy Wednesdays. Yeah, normally this is on Wednesday, of course. So it would have been great if we were on a Wednesday, but it's on a Monday.
Very apt, yeah.
Because of the New Year's. Yeah. I had to move my advanced class to the Wednesdays. But I really wanted to do a stream, so I'm happy you wanted to join as well.
Oh, no, yeah, of course. It's my pleasure, mate. It's been, as you know, it's been an interesting year, hasn't it, for everybody? And just having sort of this transition between after Christmas and New Year's is always quite quiet. It's normally like a bit of rest time and downtime. So I've had some nice free time to just work on lots of music and stuff, which has been good. So it's been very chilled over here.
Is that generally also how you did the whole year during lockdown? Did you make like just loads of music? Well, because you've had many releases, and you seem like a very productive guy. Yeah,
I mean, it's really weird because I have a 9 till 6 sort of day job, so that keeps me super busy, and then I try and line up a few evenings a week and just work hard on music. That's always the goal, but it never really works like that. I'm actually pretty terrible at timekeeping and things, so I actually just if I have a bit of downtime at lunch or whatever, I'll come up here. Luckily I've got a bit of a home studio up here, so it's one of the bedrooms which I've just ditched and just turned into a little studio. So it's great. I have the ability to come up here and work, and so I try and squeeze in a couple of hours every day. It's about creating habits, isn't it? If you create habits, then then you really push yourself to make music all the time, and that's kind of what I try and do. I've read quite a few books on things like that.
Did you read Atomic Habits?
I do know Atomic Habits. It's on the list. But, it's just Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, it's just about creating that focus and making sure that you repeat things over and over again, so that it becomes like very natural. and so it's not such a challenge to just sit in front and of the computer and make music. So,
no, exactly. Yeah, and the more you make, and that we just talked just before we started, like you said, well, I've made lots, but there's also a lot of shit in there, and that's what people don't hear the shit. They just hear the releases and go like, wow, how these people, a lot of my students also say that how do I get to that point that I'm actually making these tracks? It's just by making something every day, or making like an idea every day, and I think until you get to a point, when you're more experienced, you can actually skip a few days maybe, but as long as you keep making something every week, whatever, as long as it's a weekly habit, maybe a daily habit, depends on your time schedule. Look at Joko, he has a full-time job as well, and he's releasing lots of, he just loves making music, and I think if you really love it,
talented producer,
and you gotta find that balance,
true. It's like the laws of probability, isn't it? Like the more you do something, eventually you'll get something good. But I mean, it's weird though with releases and demos and things, because half the time you sort of might think to yourself, oh, this is really, really decent, labels are going to love this, and actually they go for the shitter track of the list that you sent.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like it's never ever what you think is going to happen. And I've learned with music that I've made that actually half the time, if it's rubbish, in my eyes, it might actually be okay in someone else's. So I kind of don't throw away. I mean, you can tell the difference between something that's really crap and then something that's, maybe not something you're fully into. And if you're not fully into it, sometimes it's worth including it just to send to a label and just see what happens, because actually you surprise yourself sometimes.
Yeah, that it's, you want to see if it's, maybe you're not fully not feeling it, but you were like, okay, this could be a B-side track, whatever. You send it and they really like it, whatever. Yeah. It's interesting how that goes. I finished 7 tracks now with Ari. We're working on a new EP that we're gonna send all over the place. And it's funny because we've made 7 tracks, and the first one that we made, we're like, yeah, we already got the first one. But then now, compared to the rest, that one is like on the bottom of the list because it's it's
absolutely.
It's just you make so much more, and what you say, the probability effect is just really important. That the more you make, the more you can see like, oh, this is good. This is actually not so bad, because I thought the other one was. You get to put perspective on your own shit.
And it's so important to have breaks on the tracks as well. So just kind of, give yourself a week and listen to it in the car, go for a run or whatever, and listen to it when you're running, and just like get a different perspective.
Yeah.
I've got some decks behind me, so I normally, whenever I finish anything, I'll often just like throw it into a mix or something just to see if it fits. And if it does, then great. But it's just you've got to give yourself and give your ears a break.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly listening to something over and over again, you just adjust to it, don't you? And you think it's actually okay, or it sounds okay, but actually the next day you might listen again and something's totally out of key. Or
how do you do this with mix downs, actually, if I can ask you? Because I really like the idea of perspective. So what I usually do is I make like 2 or 3 mix downs, of one track. So I get up in the morning, I make mix down 1, I have a break, I come back, make mix down 2, knowing what I did with mix down 1, maybe do it slightly different, sometimes even make a third one, and then I send it around to friends and check out how it feels, and then I'll leave it for a week and pick the best mix to finish. Maybe. How do you go about mix downs?
That's a great way of doing it. I mean, for me, I've always got like 7,000 versions of any mix down, like V7005, and I just keep
V500,
version 928 and whatever. So I've always got tons of versions of mixes. But what I do now is I just send to a mix down engineer, because I just don't like I find the pressure of mixing quite stressful. Yeah. So what I tend to do is I'll create a track up, and I'll mix while I'm making it, or at least in my eyes, I'm mixing it. Yeah. And I get it to a point where I'm happy, and then I'll actually send it off to be mixed by somebody, just because I prefer to get, I just prefer different ears on something, and and someone, the person I send it to is particularly experienced, and so I quite like to get their thoughts on it too, because you get so used to like stuff sounding a certain way that sometimes you get blindsided by it, and actually you need that, sometimes having that expertise to say, actually, well, maybe have you thought about doing it like that? Sometimes, for me personally, I find that quite quite helpful.
It's liberating, man. Yeah, it's liberating because I had the same with like the track "Talking with Your Heart," and I couldn't finish it. And my roommate was actually playing it everywhere, and he said, "Dude, you gotta get this done and release it." And then at some point, a friend of mine wanted to release it on Lines, a label from the north of Holland. And I was like, "All right, let's do it," you know. But that needed to be mixed, so I asked my friend Nora Q to mix it for me because it's good to have a guy that can actually mix your stuff. It's my other roommate, Ralphie.
Hey, man.
So Jaron mixed it for me, and that was pretty interesting. You know that he actually took it from me. You know, I didn't feel the track. I didn't feel the way I mixed it. I was totally done with it. But him finishing it for me was totally liberating. So I guess you're doing smart by doing this. You know,
I'm a real advocate for it. I mean, there are lots of incredible producers out there that can do the whole thing, but I don't trust myself with it anymore. I've done mix downs myself, like the Strictly EP I mixed myself.
Yeah.
Some I'm really happy with, and some like I go back in my back catalogues and have a listen, and I'm like, this is just the worst mix in the world. Why have I done this? Like the bass is just horrendous and stuff. So I try not to. I don't want any more regrets in that front. So I just make sure I just get that extra. It's also such a nice feeling to know that when I'm making music, I've got that ability to create something, and then I don't have to worry about, you know, too much after that. I've made it.
Yeah.
I can then send it off to be mixed, and then I know I've got something I'm really happy with.
Yeah.
But obviously when you're mixing though, it's a two-way thing, right? So there's lots of discussions and questions and back and forth and stuff. So you know, that's helpful. It's nice to have a relationship with a mixing engineer that understands what you're doing and what you like and what you don't like and stuff.
Yeah, it is actually, you know, I think it's, you learn a lot from it, you know, by working with a mixing engineer. You know, if I can imagine you don't want to do it yourself because it just takes away from the creative part and you just can't be bothered with it at the end. But it also teaches you a lot. So maybe if you want to do one in the future, maybe you get a better room, different studio, whatever. You're like, hey, now I want to take this on, because you do have some sort of control of your track, you know, by mixing yourself. So yeah, it's 100%. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
I mean, I think for me personally, I've definitely learned sort of all the fundamentals, and I know how to get something sounding okay, but it's just pushing it sort of that extra 5 to 10% where you just want everything to sit really nicely. And my room at home is not the best, as you can probably see in the back here. I've got like slanted roofs and ceilings and stuff. So it's the bass is horrendous in this room. So I use SonarWorks for a lot of. I actually make all the music in SonarWorks. I've got some nice monitors. I've got some Focals. And I have a preset for SonarWorks, and I find that's really helped. For a lot, actually.
The volume balance on SonarWorks, I make way better volume balances on SonarWorks. Actually, it's crazy. It's so strange when you first listen to it, but it's really helped me like tenfold. I can't even begin to explain. Especially getting the bass and the kick relationship right is it's just helped a lot. So I'm super glad I got it. Yeah, we have SonarWorks here in the studio as well. I use it on my headphones, you know. SonarWorks all the way, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't work for them, but it's, you know, it's nice. But if you follow the course with me, you get discount.
But I'm a big advocate for it. And I've got
me too. Yeah.
I've got some Bayer Dynamics which I use as well. So I'm always like,
I have these guys as well.
Mix in as well. So
which ones are these? The open ones you have?
I've got the 880 Pros, which open backs. They're great. They're really good, actually. Yeah,
I'm looking to upgrade mine. These are closed, and I'm thinking of getting open ones, but I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna.
I think open's meant to be. It's better for bass, isn't it? And also, it's a bit more
relaxed, you know.
Yeah, it's also like. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just more comfortable.
For longer, you know, especially if you're long into it. At some point, you go like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All
right, we got Greg Fletcher online, 2 top producers here. Thank you, Greg. That's great to hear.
Oh, Greg's a great bass. I know Greg.
Ben Davies is here. He's one of my students. He's been one of my students, actually making moves, releasing on the label of Low Step, I believe. So he's making moves. It's great.
Oh, nice.
JJ says, open back ones are great for you if you have a quiet room. Yeah, exactly. So you need a quiet room. If you have closed ones, it's better for louder rooms. Smart. Okay, let's go to some music. It's time for the first thing. So let's go and we're gonna have a look at Woofy Wednesdays, right? That one was released on the Seven Dials. If I'm not.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have the Flex, which was in Do Not Sleep, I believe. And I have Good Two Shoes. And which one was this again? What label is Good Two Shoes?
Goody Two Shoes is that's Camiel Resonance on Max Chapman's label.
Max Chapman. I should get him on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I should do that. I love this remix of the Flex also. By the way, he made a Flex. That's Luc van Dijk. He made a remix of the Good Two Shoes. Of course, he did it on his own.
Yes.
I really like this remix. It's really nice.
Max is so talented. His music's always been really good. He's been sort of doing really well over the last God knows how long. He's a brilliant producer. So, it's great to have a remix it. So he's done a really good job. He's certainly given it a more kind of like that more minimal tech housey spin on it, which is great.
Exactly
at the moment,
exactly how I felt it. But I do like the chunky house vibe that you give it. So let's have a listen to this, and we'll be right back.
Cool. All right, mate.
Ooh, you must be from the UK, I said.
Yeah, I know. It's got all the typical...
Proper UK. Very chunky. I love the vocal and I love the sort of like classic Moby pads, you know? Really nice.
Yeah, it's I always seem to have... I swear with all my tracks, I always have like paddy stuff like that come in all the time. And like that slightly emotive, melodic stuff, which I always seem to throw in. So yeah. And where we were just saying a second ago, I wish I'd done a dub of it where the pad wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was a bit more stripped back.
Yeah, well, the beat's chunky enough, but I bet you make a lot of beats, man. We'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, and
exactly.
where did you remember where did you get the pads from? Which plugin or which shit?
So the pads I actually sampled. I just took a hit, put it in sampler in Ableton, and then just played the notes basically. So
Well done. Yeah.
yeah, it's sometimes it's easier, but I've got loads of I like Diva for plugins, for pads.
For pads, Diva is great for
Yeah.
pads. Yeah. Would you consider that one of your favorite plugins, Diva?
Do you know what? My favorite plugin is actually, let me just grab it. It's actually called, it's the Tal LX, which is, it's a Juno 6 like emulation, I think.
Ah, cool. Maybe you can show it.
Yeah, I will
let's
do.
go in there.
And
And people who are watching, what is your favorite plugin? Yeah, I'm curious to. We have like 25 people watching. Let me know what your favorite plugin is. Just drop it in here. Maybe we can get some food for thought here.
some ideas.
But this tall one, please, Timmy, show me the tall one because I love the tall bassline. I've made a lot of stuff with tall bassline, which is I think it's like an imitation of the Roland SH-101.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that sounds.
So the Tal is basically 106, Juno 106, and I managed to find this in the sort of obscure parts of the internet. I managed to find a pack for it, which came with a load of like warehouse presets.
Ah, cool.
And so there's some really cool. It's got some really great sounds on it. So I love that. Subbeam bass too as well is another one of my favorites. I love the Rob Pappen stuff's brilliant.
Oh, this must be another dive in life tip here. You know, the Tal 106. I don't know it. Or maybe somebody did post something in the Lessons in Live group, in the Facebook group this week, about the another emulation. Not sure if it's the same one, but yeah.
It might well be. It might well be. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but Subboom bass is also amazing. I really like Subboom bass as well, which is a great bit of kit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's dive into the Woofy Wednesdays. Maybe it's cool to just dive in. You can show us some stuff. Maybe I should, in the meantime, I should just play a Woofy Wednesdays, and we're gonna listen to this track. He's gonna take it apart, people. So let's listen to it first, so you get an idea what we're gonna break down here. Another chunky one. Great. I'm curious.
You're starting to hear a theme, aren't you? Really, I love that sort of stuff though. So I love garage music as well. So it's kind of a fusion of like old school house and garage, really.
Yeah.
For me, because this has come out on Seb Zito's label, so obviously his garagey influence as well has been a big inspiration of mine to a lot of his music. So so it's just it kind of works quite nicely.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Seb Zito stuff in the past. Also very garagey. At some point he went really garagey. I think it's something with like a number behind it. I don't know the track name. I have to check it out. There's a track with like a number behind it. Club.
Is it 432? I think he's done something on Seven Dials recently, possibly. Which,
I think it's a year.
Which is a number.
Yeah, which is with a number or something very garage. You really like the vibe. Yeah.
Oh, his music is amazing. I absolutely love it.
I should reach out to him because I've met him a few times over the years. I should ask him to come on the show. Would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dive in live with Seb Zito would be great.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be tuning in for that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, me too. Oh wait, I am.
You got to.
Yeah, I got to. Yeah, there's no other way. Well, I've got Sidney Charles confirmed for February, which is nice, and Joko is coming back. So, people, we have lots of cool stuff coming. We got Andreas Henneberg from Berlin. Well. Yeah. Sidney Charles makes amazing music, man. I've been following for many years.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah,
absolutely. I still listen. In fact, I play. What's that track? I think one of the first ever tracks he did on.
I like House Lesson.
On Avotra.
I have House Lesson.
House Lesson.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what I told him. Like, it's my first, like, the one I was really, like, listening to my studio, like, holy shit, it's so simple, but yet effective. How, you know? Yeah, it's really cool.
Amazing. The vocal in that's class. It's such a G.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool. All right. So let's dive into this guy. What do we have here?
Right. Okay, cool. So can you see my screen all right?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So it's a really simple tune, as you can probably tell when you listen to it, because it's relatively loopy, but it just kind of worked for me in terms of what I wanted it to be and how it sounded and stuff. So
yeah,
there aren't tons of layers to the track. It's really stripped back. You'll recognise the kind of this crunchy sample here.
Yeah.
So I managed to pick up a sample pack a while back. This one here, the zero G Deep House, and it's just incredible. It's got so many good loops in that I normally mash into tracks and use the percussion or little snips of the audio or whatever, just to give it a bit of extra oomph, really. But this makes a lot of the kind of chunkiness in the track.
It's just this loop, makes it really like this groove. Yeah. And did you warp it also?
I've warped it a little bit just because I felt like it was too shuffled, and it was kind of slightly off grid for me, which normally I quite, having nice swing in it is perfect, but I just needed to move a couple of bits around just so it fit with the bass and stuff. So it's only minute. It's it's like minutely changed, but it was actually a really difficult sample to kind of tame because it was quite like you can see here. There's no processing on it, and I actually took that off. This was what I sent to the mixing engineer just because the processing I'd done on it wasn't. It was actually making it a bit too piercing and stuff. So basically we just stripped it back, and I just put a basic EQ on there just so that it pulled out the kick, because you hear a kick in there. And I've in fact used my own. But the two of them sound okay together. Like that.
I think it's even better. It's actually better. I like this kick better, Yeah, exactly.
It just didn't work. So really kind of removed a lot of the elements of the processing on this. I've got it in a bus here, drum bus, which I actually use the drum bus plugin for loads of stuff. It's absolutely immense for most things, just to give things a bit of an extra push and a drive and things like that. But anyway, so that was like a big part of the percussion. It's just using that loop, and I loved it so much that I just kept it, and it is what it is, really. It just kind of works with this tune.
Yeah.
So let's go through some more of the other layers then. So it just comes in here with a nice open hat with some saturation and a bit of EQ. I've ducked out quite a lot of the like mids on this, probably too much. But it was really clashing with that loop that we just looked at. So it needed to be a bit more extreme, and I've just put some saturation on there to kind of bring in a bit more of the kind of higher mids and stuff as well, and give it a bit more of a.
Yeah, I like the saturator. I really like the saturator. Yeah.
I never used to use it at all, but I actually find myself using it quite a lot with things. But no, it definitely works. And then, so we kind of build into the break here. I've got some more drum elements coming in. Got tom, I think, that pops up occasionally. Yeah, it's just a little tom.
With a little delay on it.
So the crashes, this is something I actually had to tweak quite a bit because I realized they were far too frequent. They were just coming in way too often. So I had it after every like 16, sorry, not every 16, every 9 or even less. So it's like far too frequent. So when I sent this off to the mixing engineer, I actually took out like so I took that one out, and then so I think there might even be a more like a newer version than this. I just kind of did that, made it a bit more spacey because I noticed that with all the percussion elements coming in at the same time, it actually with the crash happening constantly, it just didn't work. So strip that back, and then the bass line, which I use sub-boom bass for. So this bass was a lot of hard work to kind of, because it's really swingy, and to kind of get it to fit with the kick, it took a lot of like shuffling in the grid and stuff and moving around. So I used the fall into sub preset. And
oh man, the sub-boom bass is such an amazing unit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. It honestly brilliant. And I combined it with probably my favorite plugin in the world, which is just
funny.
Kickstart.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just makes everything so much easier when you're side chaining.
Yeah, I'm actually an old school kind of sidechain guy. I do like Track Spacer as well. I've been using Track Spacer plugin. But some people use Cable Guy's Shaper, but this Nicky Romero plugin just is oldie but goldie, you know. Everybody, I know a lot of people that really like it, you know.
Yeah, Kickstart's cool. It just that Track Spacer, I really want to try. Is it Native Instruments?
No, it's
because I've seen it on advertised actually.
There's the friend of mine, Robert. He's posting it always in the Lessons in Live group like 3 times a year. He's a big fan of the Track Spacer. It's nice. I can't remember the brand though, but you can check it on online. It's like award winning because it has like I think 32 bands EQ, so it's not only doing the sidechain volume wise, it's also doing it EQ wise, so it's a bit like you can say an intelligent sidechain. So check out the trial, man. Track Spacer. It can be
I will do. Definitely.
You can also have low cuts and high cuts on it to see where you want to sidechain it. So it's not only good for kick and bass, it's also good for vocals. It's really interesting. It's also nice for vocals and pads or vocals and leads when you have a vocal and it's not really, you can't really hear it. Just put a little Track Space or a little bit of sidechain on it and you can hear your vocal better in the track. Because I really like it.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'll definitely have a look. I've actually just recently formatted my Mac as well, so I've lost a lot of stuff, but I've kind of got it to a place again where I'm happy, and I've done like a bit of template and stuff. But
how do you use your collections?
So let me I'll hop back into this, but so I've got a TR-8S on my right here, which I use, and I link in and I just feed it into 5 and 6 as the input on my sound card. So I normally just build drums straight away. It's normally the first thing I do, and maybe find a vocal to work with. But then collections wise, I've just got my favorite plugins that I'm using at the moment. And then I'm always dipping into one of these without fail. Like I always like the Juno I love. SH101's great for bass lines, but then more and more I'm finding myself like my tracks at the moment are using the 303. I know it's an emulator, but it sounds good. Well, it's not an emulator, it's the real thing, but it's obviously a plugin. But yeah, it's sounds nice, and kind of it's quite versatile in terms of what you can do with it. And I love the drums in the 606 as well. So I normally always use those, and then I've got a lot of my favorite sample packs that I've been using. And what I often do is I will I'll get rid of them and switch them about. But I've been going through a lot of the sample market packs recently. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah. Cool.
Obviously, really respect all these producers. So,
yeah. Richie Nax, Fabe, Stussy, they're all there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then I'll just have a selection of my favorite synths, and this is the Tal that we were talking about earlier.
This guy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. I haven't seen this one in a long time. I used to use this like V1. Wow.
Oh, it's great, honestly.
Yeah.
And so this is this cool little preset pack that I found.
Yeah.
And I made a track on Strictly a while back called Movie Storm Chasers, and I used this preset with some chorus, and I was just screwing around with the envelopes and the frequencies on it and stuff. But it's very like Mr. Fingers-esque. So I mean, you can get some incredible sounds out of this. This is like my favorite.
Yeah, I love the Yeah, actually, the release we did at Josh on Origins was mostly made with the real because my friend has one in his studio, so he sampled the shit out of it. Like
nice.
Just going to creating some stabs, just play. We use it a lot actually on most of our tracks now because it's such a nice sound. It's like
it's brilliant. It really is.
Saws are just amazing.
So yeah, that's great fun. So I normally will always use just a combination of the TR8S and that with Subbeam bass and then Diva. I actually quite like the M1 a lot. M1. There's like you've got your sounds that are used like constantly on this, but they work really well. Like the strings are really nice on it. It's also really good for pads in my eyes. But a lot of the stuff's been used quite a lot. So
like Joko showed, I think it was Joko showed us a patch on there, which is this classic like "Show Me Love" organ kind of sound. Yeah,
you've got that. Yeah. And then I think if you go up an octave, it's like, oh sorry, hold on.
Yes.
It's like your bog standard like MK
piano
sounds, which are brilliant. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's an incredible plugin, but it's been done, hasn't it? Basically.
It's been done, but and when some sounds never get old, but it's hard to use those and then not to think of the classic. So you either need to make a sound which is just as good as the classic, or just maybe pick another sound.
Exactly, totally
cool.
Agree. And then
if
you want a really good if you want a really good sub bass, this is my go-to as well. Like I absolutely love this. This is such a great. Let's find it. It's just a really warm.
It's just the Ableton hip hop sub bass. I know the presets. Yeah, I know the preset. Yeah, as a certified trainer, I shoot. I know all the presets. Yeah, it's nice to see, but I really like the efficiency you have. You have not like I've made collections in the past and I put them chock full, and at some point you can't find anything. You're like maybe you just have too much in there, and you work really, really. And I think this is also like a good thing. People should not like. I'm not trying to be the Pope here, or whatever the priest, but it's better not to like get all these cracks. Just buy a bunch of plugins and really use them and really master them. I think that's
100%
way more valuable than just downloading all that stuff that's out there and not knowing how to work any of it. I think.
I totally agree. I've certainly been in that position where I've had far too much on here and been overwhelmed by it all. But now I just stick to kind of my go-tos, and then if I need to think outside the box a bit, I will do. And it's just little things like having. I actually need to update this because I'd normally, with reverb like that, I'd normally just try and cut around here just to get rid of some of the lows. Really, I normally have an EQ8 there with every send and return that I have, like every send and return channel.
Yeah, you can really save default channels and stuff. Yeah, I've also did it with like an EQ and then a utility, and then so I have everything. But then after a while, I'm just creating a checker and I'm like, no, this stuff again. I don't need it now, or like CPU wise or whatever. But you can create like chains and stuff. I've been trying to find the right configuration for it, but till now, I just like a good template and work from there. Though, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's just I'll always have like a small room, medium, large, and then I use Echo Boy for a lot of the the Sound Toy stuff. I absolutely love. Yeah. You can make some ridiculous sounds on this. This with Filter Freak as well. I ended up getting, I think it was a Black Friday a deal on a couple of the plugins, and it's just perfect. I like the Ableton delays and stuff, but this just works. Yeah, this works really, really well.
Yeah, the presets. It's ridiculous.
Just a bit more versatile. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my template really. You know, little things like booting up and making sure I've got an EQ on each channel, etc. I don't do anything more complicated than that. And as you say, I just try and keep things really straightforward. My brain's tiny, so I like things to kind of be really straightforward and simple, and I work best like that.
Timmy P with a tiny brain, making great music,
tiny brain,
releasing on all the big labels. All right, so let's go. Let's go back to the project. Nice. Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a tangent there.
Yeah, it's all great to go on a tangent. People, if you have any questions for Timmy, just feel free to drop them in the comments. I haven't seen a lot of comments lately since NDSM Music let me know that they're here watching, which is nice. Hey, Peter, glad you're watching. And let us know if you have any questions. Drop them in the chat. We'll go through them, and you can also let us know what your favorite plugin is, and we might have some food to speak about. You know, just engage if you wish. And otherwise, we're just gonna have fun and just go through his project anyway, which is nice to see.
Cool. So yeah, we got to the bass, didn't we? So yeah, you can see here it's really kind of off the grid slightly. Yeah. It was like a really old tip that I learned is when you're making a bass, what I like to do is just leave this section. I like to really slow down the BPM. Oh yeah. And then draw. So then you can go in and draw a little bit and just fine tune everything slightly. And I'll always do that with everything muted apart from the kick and the bass, and then you can really get some like nice movement. Interesting. In that relationship. Yeah,
that's interesting, dude. Just put it really slow. Like how much is it now? Like 95 or 85?
It's just not 90 BPM. So you know, it just means you can really listen to the relationship between the kick and the bass line. I love doing that, so I'll always do that whenever I'm making bass lines now.
That's a cool tip.
When you start to speed up, obviously it starts to sound a bit more, it's kind of a bit more chaotic, and it just means you can hear what's going on at a slow pace. If it doesn't work at a slow pace, it won't work at a fast pace.
I do it sometimes when I want to play something, when I want to just record something in, you know, then I put it slow, but just to hear it for relationships between sounds, pretty cool. Yeah,
it's just I mean, it may not work for everyone, but it's just something I quite like to do just to check everything. And this track does actually have two bass lines in it. So there's a section here where it just slows down a bit more, and it's actually just one note, and I've just swung it a bunch of times just for kind of moving into the second break. Yeah. And this was a real pain as well to kind of get to sit nicely with the kick.
But do you then slow it down again? Because I have here Jessin Rodenberg says that tip. No, I don't. I think he says 10,000,000% going to use that.
Oh, great.
So do you do that? Do you do that always? Like when you're looking for this swing, this ultimate swing? Like, hey, I'm gonna move them. So you're a manual swinger also.
So I like to use the groove pool. I love the groove pool. I tend to always use 16 quantized though. I use some of the MPC presets. With this one, it was just the 16 quantized. But just even now with it slowed down, you just want to make sure there's no clashing. And sorry, the reason I'm not talking is so I can hear it in my head as well. It's just like making sure that there's separation between the two sounds, which is so important with sub bass and stuff. So that's why I like to do it for this type of track, really, just where it's a bit more subby.
Yeah, it's interesting, super nice. I'm definitely gonna use that as well. Yes, and I'm also gonna do it. I'll let you know how it was.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I chopped up the bass a little bit, just going into this bit, the second part of the track, really.
This vocal. I'm really curious about this vocal step, you know?
So this was, annoyingly, I don't have the original sample, but this was just literally a hit from a phrase.
Yeah,
which I've then chucked a bit of chorus on, only a small bit, just going into my return there. It's not doing a lot.
Oh, you have a chorus return.
So basically here, I've got this filter here, which is kind of ducking in and out and moving around slightly. It's not doing too much, but there's a bit of LFO on it, so it just kind of shakes around a bit.
Yeah.
And that just gave it a bit of, it just sort of gave it a bit of
movement,
variety, and movement throughout the tune. I've just compressed it to make sure all the volumes are kind of fairly similar. Ducked out a lot of the crappy low end on it. So yeah, my EQing, as I say, you know, when you use a mix engineer, you don't worry. I mean, I always get things to a point where I think they sound okay, but there are some frequencies in this that are quite harsh. So like, you kind of listen to.
Yeah, you want to take out a bit of the resonance there. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. It's like that kind of horrible sound there, and you want to duck a bit of that resonance. And actually, a really great plugin for that. I don't know if you know Soothe too.
Soothe? No, I don't know.
Soothe, yeah. This is amazing. It's mainly its primary function really is to duck out those horrible resonant frequencies. And
it just does it by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It does it by itself. It's Oak Sound. It's the company that made this plugin. But yeah, it's so good for. Because like even now I can tell that it's not sounding, because I've just got my AirPods in, so they're not. Can't hear that great, but I can tell the resonance is definitely going. Just through.
How cool! This suit.
Yeah,
I think somebody once told me this. What is the company again?
So it's Oak Sound.
Oak Sound.
OAK Sound.
Okay Sound. Oak.
Yeah.
Oak
OAK.
means also in Dutch. In Dutch that means oak, like also. This is great. I usually use like FabFilter Pro Q3, and then it just analyzes and it gives you like some options where you could make such a dip. But this is great. You're giving great tips here, man. This is awesome.
Oh, thanks, mate. So actually, I normally use Pro Q3. So this is just to say this project's like 2 years old, and it didn't come out until last week. So.
Yes.
So a lot of this is really old, like stuff that I would do. So I now use Pro Q3 with everything. I prefer the visuals of it a lot more. It's a lot more of a,
so
a much better visualization of it.
I always hoover around in the. So if you hoover, if you hoover around and you keep it down, your mouse just a bit lower. Just not with this thing.
Sorry, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, just hoover your mouse without clicking somewhere in the where you see the spectrum going. So and keep it there. Just hold still. Go down.
Oh, hold still. I thought you wanted me to like move it around.
Yeah, and then a bit lower, just a bit lower, in the thing. Yeah, and then wait.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this is what I use.
Do you know what? I actually didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I had the feeling, so I thought I'll show you how it is. And then it will show you where the most sort of like resonance peaks are, and then I'll just go flick through them and see which ones I can use. So
exactly, so you can just see that the 4K is horrendous.
I got this from Nora Q, my friend who does all the mixing.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a really cool trick.
Yeah, it's a cool trick, man. You don't need your mixing engineer anymore. You can tell him, sorry, man.
Maybe that's it.
Camille told me this thing. Never mind. Or I'll pay you half price. And I promoted you on Dive in Live.
But that's really handy. That's really good to know. I mean, when it comes to EQing, I do my best and then see. I'm always trying to make sure I boost a little bit with percussion and hi-hats and stuff, always boosting around 12, just to touch on say 909 open hat, things like that, just to give it a bit more of an extra shine and things. Always making sure that I'm ducking around 120. I mean, I've heard people say that you don't really need to go when it's like drums that aren't the kick and you're not touching the bass and stuff. You don't want to duck too much out from sort of 120, just because it takes away a lot of I don't know if you've got opinions on that.
Yeah, well, actually, my friend NorQ, I gotta play his jingle, man. Guys, sorry, here we go. I'm gonna play a jingle. That is Jaron. He does mixing for people as well, and he's a good friend of my roommate and me. I've been known for like more than 10 years, and he actually has built a Ableton Live how to a sidechain under 120 hertz. So he just takes he makes an instrument rack or an audio effects rack with 3 multi-band compressors. In the top one, he only solos the high. In the middle one, he only solos the mid, and in the bottom one, he only solos the low end. And,
oh wow!
And the low end is everything under 120 hertz. So you're basically creating your own isotope sidechain, whatever. You know, it's like and then puts the compressor on the most bottom chain. So he puts a compressor on that chain, and then you're actually sidechaining everything under 120 hertz, which is crazy.
That's really cool.
And that's just
really cool.
Yeah, it's super. I can send you the device if you want. It's super nice.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
It's always so interesting listening to how other people work. So I feel like in Ableton, you know, well, in fact, any DAW really, it's people work so differently. There's like the fundamentals that people do the same, and then everyone else does things in such a different way.
You can get to Rome through Mexico if you want, you know, and you can get to Rome through Paris, whatever, you know. I think it's great, and therefore I'm doing these streams, you know, that people can actually watch back and on the YouTube and just learn stuff, you know, from people, because there's no one way to do stuff, and there's no one way to be successful. Just there's only a way of learning and just enjoying everything you learn and the whole process along the way. And picking up these tricks, even though I'm doing this for more than 23 years, whatever, I'm still learning so much. Also from you today with the Suit plugin, you know, and just slowing down to find a nice swing. It's crazy. It's really nice that you still pick up stuff.
Absolutely, it's just a lot of it's trial and error, isn't it? You you want to make mistakes to learn and
go like, hey, maybe do something totally outside of the box, and go like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool, even though it's not allowed, you know.
In fact, like some of this track, my favorite part of it is this this stab here, and this was actually a bit of trial and error and kind of just playing around with stuff until I was happy. But I ended up picking up this sample. Let's see if I can find
the original. Yeah, that would be cool. Ah, cool.
So that's all it was, and then I just took the very front of it, and I ended up just adding a load of processing. So I stuck in a filter, which is also it's got some movement on it, and EQ, some compression, and a bit of EQ because it was a bit too piercing. But that also goes into. So look, if you look at my return channels, they're so basic. Because this is going back a while now, so I'm just having to remind myself a little bit, but it's just feeding into a bit of reverb and delay. It literally isn't doing anything more crazy, but it just sounds. I love how it sounds.
Yeah. I think also the auto filter that you have on there that's moving with the bandpass. It's nice, you know. That really creates this movement. That the stab is different every time. I think that's what that's what all the guys been showing here. Everybody's using stabs in their music, and mostly into house or minimal stuff. These pads are constantly changing, you know. Every time it's a different filter, and that's what you essentially want, you know.
I mean, this is it. It's a lot of the kind of minimal stuff at the moment is about and the deep, the deep house stuff is about having that movement in a lot of the pads and the sounds and things like that. And so what I sometimes do, rather than drawing it in, which is kind of what I did here. Well, I've got a push. I've got an Ableton push on my left, so I did a lot of. I was just twisting some knobs and stuff just to kind of get it to sound how I wanted it to. But,
just have a difference, you know, just recording this whole thing and just and if you want it's a bit too much out of the range of the others, you correct it, but mostly you use this stuff. Hey, you use Shaper.
I love Shaper, so I didn't in this project, but just if you did want to emulate that kind of movement without having to draw stuff in, so if I just clear the just mapping that to the frequency there, and then obviously tweaking the rate. I need to move this across. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, otherwise you just have to go left and right all the time.
Yeah. So just having the ability to kind of like
see what's happening.
You have a bit more control over what's going on, and
yeah, visual also. Yeah.
That's doing the same thing, but it's just.
Yeah, I use this always in my my lessons, just to show like, okay, what's actually happening when you're opening this LFO on the right side of the filter, you know. And I actually really like to see it like this, and you can actually draw your own shapes in Shaper, so you can actually have a crazy LFO going on, you know.
Shaper's really cool, and it's also really handy when you've got if you're using a synth plugin or whatever. So I love using it with like the towel and subboom bass and just controlling some of the parameters so that. Yeah. Throughout the whole tune, things are changing, and I always have it. I'll never have it like
crazy.
Like like a half or one. It's always got to be slightly off numbers, numbers, just to kind of make sure that it's never exactly the same.
Yeah, I often have it off the whole grid. I don't have it on the beat, you know. I just have it like on a frequency, so it's like sort of like always in between the beat, which is cool. Depends on where I use it on, actually, but it's nice. I use just LFO, but Shaper, I need to use Shaper more, man. It's interesting.
Shaper's so good because like you can literally map so many things.
Yeah.
And just let it go crazy in the background. You don't have to worry too much about it. Obviously, it takes a bit of a while to get things working how you want them to do, because originally they'll just sound horrendous until you spend a bit of time playing around. But it's a really useful tool.
Practice makes perfect, you know.
Exactly. So I think that for this synth, it was just a case of just taking that hit and then drawing in and using the push and the filter and just and it just kind of fit really nicely with like the break and the vocal.
Hey, and just to get back on your bass, because Greg says, I always struggle to create a unique bassline pattern. It drives me crazy. How did you get this bassline pattern? Is it just like you just go, you play, you add some notes and see where you go? Or do you start with a certain key, you know, like, oh, my kick's in this key, I'm going to... How do you do this stuff?
So what I probably normally do is I'll start in a key. That's normally the one thing I love about the push is that you can define a key straight away within the grid. So I'll, if I've got a groove, so if I've got my kick and the drum, the kick and the bass kind of, well, in fact not the bass yet, but just the drums like this. It can be as simple as looking at spectrum and looking at what the kick's doing in terms of a key.
Yeah.
So I'll often do this just to kind of have a little look around and check what key the kick might be in. There's often things you can do, like you can just use a mixed key sheet and just get a little bit of an idea.
It's G minor. There you go.
I always find like little shortcuts for finding keys is great.
Yeah, I use the mixing key a lot as well. You know, I wasn't born with perfect hearing. I'm training it actually on my piano lately. You know, just by.
Nice.
Gotta believe me, I'm singing next to my piano. I actually took my first singing lesson, which is funny. It's a really great advice to do. You know, if you start singing and you have to sing with your piano, you just you gotta get over your fucking like, oh no, because it's weird. No, my first singing lesson was super awkward. I came there, she said, all right, well, okay, you want to sing with the piano? So then she started playing, and I was like, oh. All right, and the higher we went, the more awkward I felt, and it's so weird because I'm so anal about, I didn't know it's such like, I was so shy, but it really taught me that you can actually sing notes. So every time now I'm working on music, I just and I just hear it and see if I can match it with the pitch, and I'm getting better at it. And I always was like metering everything, but I really want to get to the point where I'm not metering and I'm just knowing,
I can imagine that definitely helps. It's so good to know. It's so good to know like the keys and scales and things. It's really important. I used to play piano when I was younger, but one of my biggest regrets is quitting. Because I wish I'd stuck with it, and now I'd be, I'd just be able to create some really cool stuff, like original stuff. Scalar 2, I don't know if you know Scalar, do you?
Oh yeah, I've heard people about this. Yeah.
Scalar 2 is quite fun. So one of my friends, Scott, he's got a little pack on here. I mean, you can make some seriously nice. Hold on.
It looked like Captain Chords. Ooh.
I mean, it's such an easy way to get a nice idea going, and then you can easily tweak about, and it's great for detecting key as well. But
no, sure, but how does it work? You just play one note and it plays all these chords.
Yeah.
Wow. It's sort of like Chord from Ableton to the max.
I mean, it's so easy, but it's just.
And then you just say, okay, so you say I'm in like G minor, and I want to have like a nice progression. You just press 4 notes. You go like, hey, these are nice, you know?
Yeah. So you've got a set scales here. I mean, in terms of scales themselves, there's so many out there, but all of these will then be in key. It's just like it just really helps you create some ideas. But it's definitely not my strong point when it comes to like what's in key. I mean, when things are in key, I can obviously tell, but it's just like scales. You know, I'm okay at, I'm not great, but just so that's why I love things like mixed in key, for example, and the Spectrum Analyzer just to really help with that stuff. And
I'm just looking at your plugins. I'm like, wow, you've just so organized, man. It's like you don't have too
I've
much.
Got a bit anal, really.
Yeah, that's great.
But like, and you know, this is such a good reverb for things. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent again.
Oh, I love tangents.
Tangents.
So the bass line. How do you make your bass lines? Do you have any secret sauce or secret
sauce?
Yeah.
So for me, the push is great for that. But I think there's a couple of ways of doing it. Is really, I guess, in my eyes. I like to define the key it's going to be in the track. So whether I check the kick and find out what key it's in, or if I find a vocal, so just like this vocal here, I really like just finding out what key this sits in. So it's hovering between a C and an A minor, really. But what I then do is I would either use, I think there's just try and find it again. Bear with me. Just try and remind myself what it would be.
What performance or?
No, sorry. It's MIDI effects. There we go. Chord. So you've got. Hold on. I don't normally do this now because I use the push for it. But you've got. I think there's a.
Oh, you want to have the scale? The scale, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, scaler. You can go to scale if you open scale.
That's it.
Chord,
Sorry.
Scale. There you go. Yeah.
So you've got C minor, and then you can obviously set your notes there. So the good thing about this, sorry mate, I completely forgot it was in scalar, not chord.
Fine.
Which makes a lot of sense. Of course it would be scalar, but anyway, so the ability of having, once you found out the key that you want to use, having this as an input on the MIDI channel. As an effect on the MIDI channel means that whatever note you're playing on your MIDI keyboard, you can make sure it's actually.
It will be in minor. Yeah. That's nice. Helps a lot, and especially if you do the pentatonic scale. If you do pentatonic scales, you can never go wrong. It's like playing the black keys on your piano, which is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's just in terms of workflows and speeding up music and stuff.
It's nice to have something and then play your bass line and go like, hey, you know what suits my kick. But you know, Greg, I think in all fairness, just putting some notes there is a good starting point. And then what I like to do, I don't know about you, Tim, how are you with arpeggiators and sequencers? Do you use a lot of those or?
So I occasionally, and going back to Tal again, my favorite. So I do quite like the arpeggiators on here. So it's got this little gizmo, which oh, hold on, let me just get tempo. So yeah, I mean, I use this occasionally in tracks. It's a horrible sound. Let me find something a bit nicer. Yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, you can just kind of.
Yeah. Oh, this one will be nice. Sync it up. Yeah, you can just sync it, right? If you sync it, it will be.
Yeah, you know, I do like to. I like to mess around with stuff like that. Just generally holding down the root note of the key of the track and just playing around with elements of it, making sure it's in sync with the BPM of the tune and things
yeah.
like that. So I mean, to be honest, with the kind of music I'm making, I don't use tons of them.
No. Yeah, I like it for ideas, because usually on arpeggiators or sequencers, you just have a random. So if I like to set like a key and then just press random, you know, and then boom boom, and at some point you got something which sounds almost like, hey, I would be working with this. You can change it a bit, and then you have a starting point, so to speak. I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that you can. What I love about arpeggiators is you can often. It's often a bit of a trial and error thing again, so you can make mistakes with it, and actually, because you're essentially playing a series of notes. It just, some things work and some things don't, so it's just finding out what works and what doesn't with it, and that can lead to more interesting sounds, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't tend to use them tons with the kind of stripped back house that I make, but whenever I do. I do like what they normally make, but they're normally quite simple. The arts that I use.
Okay, mate. So I'm gonna give you a little break. So let's play the Flex, which has a remix of Luc van Dijk, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct.
Really nice. So it's on Do Not Sleep, which is also not too bad to be on. So you've been working it. So let's listen to the Flex, and we'll be right back. Yeah. Damn, the bass line. Somebody said.
Yeah, that was a good fun track to make actually. That's Creature's such a Ash is such a talented producer. It was great to work with him. It was cool because we did it over lockdown, so we did it over Zoom.
Yeah.
And we just I came up with a bit of a loop, and then we just worked on it together over like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and it just worked.
Yeah, sometimes they just gel together really easily. Really, also pretty garagey again.
I think that seems to be kind of the way with most of my stuff now.
Yeah.
I get I don't pigeonhole myself too much. I feel like I kind of make, house, deep house and the garagey stuff. So I don't, I can't see, if I try and make a certain genre, I'll always do completely the opposite if I kind of sit down and try and do something. So I don't put too much pressure on myself.
No. Just let it flow out, It's nice to just create something, and later on you'll see where you're gonna drop it or where it's gonna end up. After all these years of making music, I found out that I just want to have fun. I just want to create some music, and like now I have 7 tracks with Ari, and we'll just see whatever's gonna be released or whatever we kind of really like. But we are having so much fun making it, Just like we got this. Oh, this one's a bit more dubby. Oh, this one's a bit more housey. Oh, this one's a bit more. You got all these different. Flavors basically you can explore. So
it's perfect. It's great as well when you've got that many tracks. It's so good for labels because
it's nice. So they can just pick out, and you can just really see what you have, and in the meantime you can make more. And just we're actually having a studio day tomorrow, and then on Wednesday next week we have 2 days. So it's nice to just keep it flowing. I think it's really nice.
It's great. It must be so good to work with a vocalist like that. I've just finished a really big project with a vocalist called Loa, which I could potentially quickly show you after this. But it's that was a really, really big piece of work for me, and it took a while to do. But Loa is incredibly talented. But it would be so great to work with her in person rather than like kind of remotely. It must be great to have that with this vocalist that you're working with.
Yeah, well, yesterday was actually the first time we started doing the vocals, and we had a really great session. She has a great voice, and I can't wait to have her on the record singing somewhere. Nice. It's going to be great. So we're going to work tomorrow. I'm really excited. Me and Ari are going to work on the vocals we did with her, with Fearless. She also did some tracks with my roommate in the past, so it's time to get her into the music again, So nice.
Perfect.
I see my mate Weston is on. Yeah, Wazoo, what's up? He's a producer for lots of different sounds, like more melodic. He's going to be on in March. I think we have March blocked for him. Yeah, it's nice. Also works with vocalists and stuff. It's nice to work with somebody that sings for you, gives you this original touch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's just that like I'm a big advocate for sampling. I love samples, but then just having something original and having a vocalist that. So what's also really cool is having a vocalist that you can leave to do their own thing as well. So like you've got your instrumental, you send it to the vocalist, and just they can take it away and come back with something. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It just takes away the anxiety of having to work out lyrics and an idea yourself.
Yeah, I said yesterday, I said, like, wow, you're like a sample bank, that's like generating stuff by yourself, which is great, but I think it's also good to write lyrics, but I've just haven't been so emotional lately. So, I'm not like, I don't know, I'm too happy for this to go like, oh, my heart's broken or whatnot. So maybe I need to fall in love again.
Well, you could be the one guy that sings about happy stuff.
About happy stuff. Yeah, they'll be funny.
But yeah, it's just takes away that worry of having to really think about, because I think lyrics are really they're an art in themselves, right? It takes a long time to come up with stuff like that.
Sometimes you just run like what you had with Goody Two Shoes, just the vocal that you find in a sample pack. Sometimes I had it like 2 weeks ago. I was making an idea, and I ended up in two hours making like almost a full song with like a sample pack. I believe it was some sample magic pack or something, some soul vocals, whatever. You just click the second one, you go like, oh wow, this is it. Not okay. Boom! Just chuck it in, spread it over the track. To work out some delays, some and some reverb.
There's
and you're like,
in my eyes, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, if it fits, and it's like, of course, these days you have like A minor. All right, it's A minor. My track's A minor. Oh, let's try this one. Oh wow, you know, and if it fits, it fits.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah. But
so
yeah,
kind of going back to keys again, and another thing that I obsessively do is I use Rekordbox for certain things as well. So I've got like my playlist when I'm creating mixes and stuff. But then I'll add loads of effects to. I mean, to be honest, you could just use mix and key, and I don't even know why I do this, but I do. And I just have all of my effects in a playlist.
Yeah.
In key as well, just to kind of have that reassurance and knowing that it's probably totally unnecessary, but I just do it, and I've always done it.
I've actually have old sample packs that weren't in key. I put them to this program called Key Finder, which is a free program you can download via Google Key Finder, and it's free and it works. You can drag in full folders, and it will change the name though. Don't do this with all your samples. But I even have claps which are sort of in key. It just finds the key. Of course, percussion, you know, you can go a long way. It doesn't really have a key sort of, but if it has a key, you really want it to be in key. So you can always check like, hey, what if I move it in key, or what if I move it out of key? You know, it's nice to check.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at him go.
Exactly. I don't know if you can see that, but
you just do it in the Rekordbox, which is cool, actually.
I mean, I just get all my textures and just whack them in here. And I like to have the ability of auditioning sounds outside of Ableton sometimes, and having a listen while Ableton's playing in the background. And if they're not key labeled, it can just make my life a bit easier. For me, it works. So I always have like. So certain sample packs obviously don't come registered in a key, and using Spectrum could be a bit of work sometimes, and also mixed in key is not, it's not a lot of effort to do. But in fact, if you just dump them all into Rekordbox, analyze all the keys, then you can start auditioning sounds that are in key, and you're like saving time. And so that's something I do.
I really like it. That's cool to use Rekordbox for. It's very interesting. Yeah, cool. Hey, everybody, we still have 25 people watching. If you have a question, feel free to drop any production questions or any comments that you might like to add. Feel free to join the conversation. Meantime, I will ask another question. How you did this little break? Maybe you can show some of the automation that you've done, or how do you keep your tracks interesting, like flowing? Do you really pay a lot of attention to the arrangement, or how do you go about arranging your songs?
So arranging is something I try. I'm just trying to think how to kind of word this. I don't spend a lot of time focusing on arrangement too much. I kind of what I'll do is I'll build something, and then I'll like to. So a lot of people put markers and things at the top here and locators and stuff. And I personally don't do that, because I start to overthink about things. So the way I like to do it is, whenever I first start a track, I'll have I'll just start by literally just having a section here and building a loop. So just a 16 bar loop. That's how I'd originally start. And I'll add all of the elements to that loop. And then get it really crowded, not too crowded, but really, one other thing that I learned, which is really handy when you're making grooves, is, so with this, for example, sorry, I know I'm going on a tangent again, but
feel free, my friend.
You should always, from what I've learned in the past, you should always listen to a groove without any percussion. Trying to find a busy part of the tune, which is quite hard considering this track's quite stripped back, but probably doesn't work very well with this one. But it's really good to listen to a loop without any hi-hats, especially. Because hi-hats make things a little bit more crowded, but without hi-hats, if you've got a really nice open nice sounding track, it can make all the difference by muting the hi-hats and listening and listening to the bass and the kick together. It really helps. What I often do when I'm building is I will chuck everything into a 16 bar loop, and then I'll mute the hats. I'll listen to the kick and the bass together, check they work well. I'll slow them down. And I'll just build. And then I just drag across and start thinking of DJs, when they're introing. One of I run a label with a good friend of mine called Dev Star, and he's He's an incredibly talented DJ. He does a lot of stuff for the tool room guys, and he whenever he listens to my music, he always gives me really good sort of DJ feedback, things that I necessarily wouldn't think of. So I would say I'm foremost a producer over a DJ. So I guess when you're a DJ, you have that, you know, when you're particularly experienced, you have the ability to kind of listen to intros and outros and what you kind of want to come in. Oh, this intro's too crowded, it's too busy, this would be really hard to mix into, etc., etc.
Exactly. So,
I find it really handy to speak to Dev and get that kind of input.
The feedback, how it flows. How the arrangement
really helps.
flows. Yeah, DJs have a really good ear for how the arrangement should flow. You know, it's great to get some feedback on, hey, maybe the break comes a bit too early, or like I feel it's not ready before it drops, whatever. Actually, maybe it's nice. I don't know. O Price is saying maybe a quick little sketch similar to what Aaron Volta did when he was on. Would like to see your workflow.
Okay, sure.
Are you up for this?
I am, but it's massively on the spot. But yeah, of course.
Yeah, it is. It's really, you're like... when I started teaching, you know, when I did like the started lessons in life basically, and I started working for SAE, man, I was making music in class and people were watching me. I found it really weird, and it's scary, man. It's scary. But if you'd like to show a bit like how you work, I think people really like that sort of stuff. That's really great, and I'm curious as well. All this organizing.
Yeah, no worries. Let me just double check that. It's so weird kind of using AirPods to speak and also listen to music on Ableton, because I've got my monitors in front of me, and I obviously didn't want to have that thing. So
you can plug in your biodynamic if you wish. That's no problem. In the meantime, I can go jump, because we have people online. So let me jump to my site. Let's see if I can jump to the site here and tell people about the Origins EP breakdown. I did a release on Just Butler's label in November. It did quite well, and I'm doing a breakdown of the track, of the whole EP actually, on the 11th of January. And on lessonsinlive.com you can find the event, and you can register if you want. And if you want to go a bit more serious, you can find one of my private lessons, focus beginners course or advanced courses. So feel free to check out those things. And in the meantime, I think Timmy is totally ready. Let's go.
Yeah. Zoom. So, okay. I'm just having a think about what to do. Let's go for my 909 is, sorry, my TR8S is currently playing up. So I'm just going to have a look for...
Do you get your TR8S stereo into the... Ooh.
So this is going directly into sorry, buddy.
Into the sound card.
Really stupid moment. So yeah, this is going directly into my Fireface ECX. I would show you, but it's just sitting at my desk. So it just feeds directly into one of the inputs there, and then I use Total Mix as my like a sort of on a virtual mixer thing.
Yeah, Total Mix. Is that for the RME or what is it?
It's for RME, yeah.
RME,
yeah, exactly.
Man, I know my stuff, don't I?
You do. I was going to say.
I don't even have. I never owned an RME, but I know people that have one. So
no, it's brilliant. Okay. It's really useful.
All right.
Yeah, let's just draw some.
So I'm gonna leave you alone for a bit. I'm gonna get some water.
Sure. Okay.
Guys, Timmy P's running the show now. I'll be back in a sec.
Cool. Right, so let's just start with a real basic 909 kit. This is perfect. One thing I've always started recently to do this is to use transient master on my kicks, just to make them a bit shorter. Obviously you can use decay as well to control the tail of the kick itself. But yeah, I just, using decay and transient master, you're really kind of making sure that the kick isn't too long and doesn't cloud everything. So what I would normally do then is draw in just a rough like pattern. So let's get some hats in there as well. Just need to find some decent ones. Apologies. when you do everything. This is a really nice clicky sound, actually. God, it feels so weird doing this with AirPods on. Honestly, it's like.
Sorry for leaving you alone. Also.
No. Don't worry. So I'm just doing things super basic at the moment. I'm just trying to. It's a nice open.
Ooh, yeah, I like that one. Do you always work with Impulse? Classic, man, the Impulse.
Oh yeah, I love Impulse. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's fine for kind of what I'm after. As I say, this is going to be really rough and messy, but it's always how I start stuff. I never kind of worry too much about being too organized initially, just to get an idea going.
Yeah, exactly. Likewise, just chuck it all there, you know. Yeah.
Chuck it all together, exactly.
Yeah, and then you'll see
normally,
So
get a group all going, and then I've got on this little clicky hat here. You can start to play around a little bit with the kind of.
Yeah. Ooh,
to get a bit of.
You always work on 132?
Yeah, I mean, I play around. I never really give myself too many kind of limits, really. But
yeah. Oh, funny. I always work in 116. Always.
So yeah, 16 would be my normal, but then for 32 in that scenario, it worked fine. Like,
yeah, it's nice. Actually, yeah, I noticed. I was like, this is actually pretty easy.
It just. So already you're kind of getting a nice little relationship between the closed hat and the open hat.
This is cool. Now we have 35 people watching, so actually doing a live production is always super interesting.
Oh no!
And actually, I came upstairs and look what our neighbor brought us, like cake.
Oh wow!
So I'm just gonna watch your show, Timmy, and enjoy this thing.
Save me some.
Oh wow!
So yeah, just going back to using audio with. I'm going to tidy this up a bit. This is getting ridiculously messy. So just kind of, I mean, I always like to have my kick and my hats in separate impulses, just so I can do separate processing and keep it really organized. Really, I could have had my closed and open in the same impulse, but I've just done it like this.
Yeah. I always have them separate as well.
Yeah. So just going back to looking at some of those, because I always like to layer audio in or samples if I can to stuff, because I just find it just gives an extra like. Oh, let's turn that down. Just gives it an extra kind of like element of depth to the percussion, and it's a real trial and error with this. It's like it's never going to be straightforward, and it always takes a bit of time auditioning sounds and stuff. But first thing I'll do is just whack on Pro Q and then just go like. Take a load of the because a lot of the samples in this pack are they have a kick in them,
and
they have quite a kind of so I mean just listening and just the fact that we're against the clock slightly.
Yeah, it's nice. Sort of like an against the clock.
So to be honest, I can't tell if this sounds any good because my AirPods are not the best for listening. But
yeah. No, it sounds great. It's good choice.
So it's just removing a lot of the kind of thuddy, kicky sounds.
Yeah, I love to take these snares and then like I'll just I'll just use the automation to take only the snares, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's a late dose.
Actually, that's quite a good way of doing stuff. So just kind of
this is our first collab.
Yeah,
live.
So just trying to the snare. Can't really hear. It's about there, isn't it? I think. So you could sort of. Quite liked it, kind of how it was anyway. But I'm just gonna leave this.
Oh yeah, don't let me take you off your journey. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I totally agree with you. Normally, if I could hear this in a better way, I would definitely be chopping it up a bit.
Yeah.
Another good tip is to if you slice to MIDI as well. So if you use it on, I think well, transient will probably be fine, but if you do it on the beat marker, then you can just slice up all the different sounds, and then obviously draw those in, which is definitely a good way of doing it, because then you don't have all the crap in there.
Yeah, I love slicing. Slicing is really cool.
Slicing's really cool.
Yeah.
So if I whack in, this is a really good sample. This transient master here is perfect for it, because it just shortens everything a bit, shortens the transients.
Yeah.
Just gives everything a bit more space.
I used to use the SPL Transient Designer, but again, I used to use that as a crack, so, you know.
Oh, okay.
I haven't used it for a long time. I used Transient Master since I bought the whole complete package some years ago.
So this is this is just drums, so there's not going to really be a key in there.
It's going to be,
I'm just going to whack a drum bus on that as well.
Drum bus glues the whole stuff together. It's ridiculous. Oh, you use the compression, yeah? Funny.
I do sometimes.
Yeah. Tupsky was here as well. Hey, Tupsky. Great stuff. We'll check the stream back later. Yeah, enjoy work, man. Fly safe. Glad you're watching, man. Tupsky's one of my old students. Did the advanced. This guy went from like, I think he started in March and he watching my shows and starting to follow some tutorials. So he said, okay, I want to follow the advanced course. So he started the advanced course in October with me. And he actually went from like making just loops in a bit to like full on tracks, which was amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, really cool. Arleo, hi. Glad you're watching, man. If you have a question, feel free to ask.
So I'm now on the hunt for a vocal.
Yeah.
And I'm actually using Loop Cloud. I don't know if you know the plugin Loop Cloud, or you know much about it. Or
I've never heard of it. Loop Cloud or Loop?
Oh, it's a game changer. It really is. I'm going to try and share my whole screen so that you can actually see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I think at the moment it's just on. Can you see everything now? Hopefully. So Loop Cloud's brilliant. So you can literally just, it's a VST in itself, and it just creates this little MIDI keyboard here, and it comes as its own standalone software. So I can play the tune, and you can actually audition sounds and samples. We got Roger Sanchez's back here.
It's like Splice.
And the beauty of it,
it's a bit like
if you want. Yeah. Oh, sorry, buddy.
No, it's a bit like Splice, but then better.
The difference between this and Splice is you can actually audition samples in the program before you buy them. So massive game changer.
Yeah.
So like,
so you can buy only the useful stuff. Yeah.
So all of this is just based on the BPM of the track.
And you can do all kinds of stuff already. You can change the pitch. Yeah. You can double the speed, half the speed.
Mate, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You can change the key of the vocal, anything.
You even have tools.
Anyway.
What are these tools then? You can chop it up already. This is ridiculous. Live just got...
It's great. It's great. Honestly, I love it. I find it so handy for like making like ideas or getting ideas going. So, and then up here you've got, obviously, I feel like I'm working for Luke.
Yeah.
You can basically
gives you like a half price. You get a code, right? Discount.
Yeah. Wow, so like instruments, vocal.
Why did nobody ever point this out to me? Like, you know, I should know this stuff. That this is around.
I mean, let's get this right. Export it straight into the door.
Oh, like we're getting so much traction now. Damn, that's sick. Yeah, it is sick. I'm also like, what? Great tip so far. Hey, David, another ex-student. Great, it's nice that all the students are watching, man.
Oh, great. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if I honestly have no idea if this sounds any good because I've never ever
my friend.
used AirPods.
It's live television.
So yeah, again, this doesn't really have a key to it. It's a very like basic sound. So when it comes to bass lines, I never worry too too much about starting from scratch. I like to have a flick through some of the the presets, especially the sub presets, and then I'll tweak as I go. So I'll just go on my push. I don't know. Let's do an A minor, shall we?
Maybe you can check where the vocal, what key the vocal is in. Doesn't it say it in the loop cloud?
It doesn't. No, it actually doesn't. And also because it's such a like, it's quite like it's like every key under the sun. G minor, right? Let's go for a G minor.
Yeah,
G
why not?
Minor.
And in the meantime, Jason Ronenberg says, "Peeps, just so you know, the earlier tip works." And I think he slowed down his track and tried to get swing on his bass line. So thank you so much, Timmy, for sharing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. So the problem is because I have some delay on my headphones.
Yeah.
I can't draw in the bass that well.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
So let's do it. Just drawing it in. Why not?
Of course. Nice.
I'm just having a look. There's a couple that I love on there. There's one called Woody.
I like the ARP of the subboom bass.
Yeah, I haven't actually spent much time on it, but I will have a look. So there's one. There's one called Woody, which is really cool. It's probably not going to work here, but
no, just check it out. I'll have my cake in the meantime. The cake is amazing.
Oh, where is it? It's gone. So we could just start. I think this is more of an 808 sort of kick sounding bass. It's really long. It's quite nice. Let's try that. So let's do. What was it earlier? I can't remember what it was. Was it a G minor?
Yeah, it was I think a G flat minor. But I think the basses and the kick are the most important first to have. Nice bass sound.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Oh, hold on. Let me go down an octave. Sorry, mate. It's because I'm drawing it in.
All good, man. People know it's gonna take some time. Feel free to take your time.
So yeah, you kind of it helps to have it slow down like that because you can really just building it in my headphones is so much easier.
So interesting. Here you go.
I mean, it sounds like
it's funny. People just tuning in. People just tuning in to go like, why? What's he doing? Making music on 80 beats per minute? Why?
It's like really slowed down stuff. Yeah.
So the bass is mostly offbeat, right? So you don't have any troubles with sidechaining, of course, but you do still sort of like sidechain it, right? I do the same.
I do. It's just in case there's any lengthy tails to it where it just crosses over slightly. I just want to make sure it ducks. But yeah, as you say, it's never on there like the 1 or the 1-3 or the 2 or anything like that. So it's just. So we've got like a rough gist of stuff going on there, and then I mean from here it could go anywhere really. Personally, I don't like the vocal anymore, so I've completely gone off that in my head.
Sometimes I just mute it, or I just put a auto filter on it, or I put a tantra on it. I think it was Aaron Volta that talked about the tantra. And the Tantra plugin is insane, man. Everywhere you put it on. The Tantra, Tantra. It's like Tantra. It's a ridiculous plugin.
Oh, nice.
Do you have that? Yeah.
So there's a track that I've got. It's called Eddie S. The Scream, and it's probably my favourite house track ever made, I think. And I sample the snare in almost everything I ever make. Because it's probably my. I mean, I don't know if you can hear this, but
yeah. Ah, man.
I just love that.
It's
honestly my favorite.
It's fucking
favorite
classic.
record.
It's fucking classic. Oh, they're going to.
Yeah, I love it. So what I tend to do then is
I think I've heard the sample in one of your tracks. Yeah.
I think Guest List possibly.
This is a great way to show people like how you can steal.
Yeah.
I read this book called "Steal Like an Artist." I don't know if you know it. It's a really great book, and it's.
No, I need to check it out.
It's a really cool book. It's really, it's good to sometimes steal a little snare from somebody. Come on, why not? There you go.
Bit of daylight robbery. There she is.
Sorry, Eddie. We just love your snare.
So then we can just start to.
"130 BPM is the new 120 BPM." Better.
I actually do. I feel like all of my music at the moment is like 125 and more. I can't actually do any slower.
I'm 128, 130, and I've tried to go back to 124, 23, which I usually used, but it's just, I don't know, man. It needs to be faster. I just can't stand it. It needs to be like 25 and up for sure.
Honestly, I love faster stuff, especially because of the kind of garage influence as well. Like I find myself making really, like, certainly a lot faster. So I mean, it's just a case of really. So you've got a bass, you've got some drums in there, which I think sound all right.
I think you already have quite a proper beat going on, man. You might finish this just like I said to Aaron, man. If you finish it, call it the Lessons in Life track.
Oh, I will. Yeah,
that'd
absolutely.
be great.
But then there's so many different things you can do. You can boot in one of the various. I mean, I would tend to at this stage. I go to the old trusted Uno, which I just like absolutely love. There's a track I've pretty much finished today, which uses sounds from this that I bounced down.
Yeah. Cool.
Just this four.
You've sampled the classic Uno.
I just love this sound so much. Honestly, it's just. With the chorus, it's just amazing.
Very garagey, kind of like old school bass line. Doom, doom, doom.
Yeah, it's just very like.
Yeah, you could create an answer to the other bass line.
Yeah, the kind of question answer stuff is something that I learned a couple of years ago, and it's actually so important, isn't it? It's like it creates that. Variation that's enough to keep it interesting. Yeah,
to have like multiple elements telling one sort of line, instead of have one instrument. I used to make my instruments do this, like one line was done by one sound instead of like taking one sound and have the other one answered. But it's the same line, but it's just playing the other notes are played by different sounds, which is great. Question and answer,
absolutely.
People. Question and answer.
Absolutely, mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a better vocal because I feel like this vocal sucks. I'm used to it anyway, so.
I like the beat though. Maybe you can add some pads, like a little bit of texture.
Yeah, let's get some diva on there.
Yeah.
Or what we could do is go back to record books, have a look at our textures.
Take one of those,
Take one of those.
Take all them tips.
So it's just something I do just to kind of have everything alongside. So this is.
And how are you DJ wise? You play with Rekordbox, obviously, right? No Traktor. Do you play vinyl as well?
No. So I've got some 12. I don't know if you can see from there. You probably can't. But behind me in the corner, I've got some 1210s on the floor.
Nice.
But I've got some few DJs and DJM and NXT here as well. So I kind of wanted to do a monthly series thing, which are just like podcasts, but it's just I've just put it on hold, just making music at the moment. But I would ordinarily just mix on those, and I don't do anything on the computer really when it comes to.
And how is it gig wise? Do you already have some gigs for after this whole thing? How is it in your scene? Because
I've got a few bits coming out. So I've never had so much music coming out up until recently. It's just like constant releases really up until around June next year. So I'm hoping, things start to come in. But I mean, I've got a few bits here and there. A couple of bits in Liverpool, and hopefully the Isle of Wight. That was cancelled sadly this year. So little bits coming in. I don't know if you know the Isle of Wight, but it's just a little island off the UK. It's a tiny little island.
I've heard of it.
So I mean, we'll see, mate. It's just such a difficult time, isn't it, for everybody?
You got to keep your head high and just still make music, still believe that things are going to go back to normal.
Absolutely. I'm not worrying about it too much. I'm just enjoying doing this, really. If one person likes one of my tracks, then I'm extremely happy. I don't put too much pressure on myself. And I think if I could do this full time, which that would be my kind of dream, really, then that's my goal, right? Is to do this full time.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Well, bless you, man. You're gonna make it. Just keep making music. If you're on these labels,
thanks,
it's only a matter of time and a matter of Corona going away at some point, and we should be able to
absolutely
indulge in festivals. See. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But so I've got a G minor texture here. Texture time, but we can't actually hear it. And I can't hear it out of my headphones, but I'm just going to drag it into Ableton and just see how it sounds. This could sound horrendous. Ooh, it's a little paddy texture.
Nice. And would you use your sidechain? Yeah, exactly. A bit of sidechain, probably you want to.
I was going to whack some sidechain on there. And I was also going to stick shaper and a filter on just to. Sounds all right, I think.
Yeah, I think it's fine, man. You're ready for making another track. So, that's probably tomorrow. We're gonna hear Timmy P has a new release. Just need to find a new vocal.
So there are actually some really good vocals on here. I know it's kind of just the ones we just heard there are terrible. Well, not terrible, they're not great. But there are some really, really decent vocals on here.
Ooh, a Jimster back. I used to love Jimster.
Free range records. Honestly, this is brilliant.
Man, I used to love. Probably it must be. This guy's a legend, man. I used to love Jimster. I still love Jimster, but I haven't been. I've been busy with my own stuff there lately. But I've really, really used to love his. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, you can just pick up some stabs here in G minor.
Do you remember Mama's Groove?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh man, I had the slip disc remix and the. I don't know. I just played them both. One was. He's
a legend, though. The deep house world, really.
Man, man. I really, really love this stuff, and I know that Detroit Swindle guys also released a lot on his label, and really, really enjoy this sort of deep housey kind of vibe. Really nice.
They're not Detroit Swindle now, are they? I can't remember what they're called now. They've just totally renamed themselves.
Did they? I've missed that totally. Wow.
Well, no, it was all the kind of
because they did heist
discussions of the Black Madonna and stuff, and all of that's the craziness of this year and people having to rebrand themselves because of blah blah blah. I don't actually think they did it for that reason. I think it was it was because of their story that they're trying to portray. But
yeah.
And that they portray really well because they are the most talented guys ever.
Swindle them or something. Ben says.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
Daamen Swindle. Yeah, they are just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, man, the chords they've used. I loved the breakup. I think it was the first release on their Heist.
The breakup on Heist was amazing.
Man, these vocals. I should ask, how did you get these vocals? Man, I should get these guys on the show if they want. Actually, I should check it out because I've met them in the past. We're all Dutch, so
of course,
should check out. I should reach out. Nice. I should write that down.
Hold on, sorry, mate.
No worries.
I'm just trying to. It's so hard to do because I've got delay in my headphones. I can't actually.
Yeah, you can't really play then. That's going to be tough. I know it from doing my lessons and stuff, but it's fine, man. I think we've seen quite a bit of workflow here, so.
So what I do is just whack a nice bit of. I've got my reverbs here, which just keep things because I always like to have my main my sort of leads, or my lead, and then my pads and things on different reverbs. I don't like to have them in the same one, just so they sit further or closer to in the mix.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
Likewise. Yeah. So you're
nice
essentially building a bit of stage there. Yeah. I always like to explain it like when you build when you make a picture. You're building you're painting a house and you're painting a tree, but the tree is closer than the house. Then the tree might be bigger than the house. Because the tree
absolutely.
is more in front. So with reverb you can get stuff to the background and make it smaller and more distance. It's really interesting.
It's very true, and it's important to do because it gives a lot of variety to the tune.
Ooh, deep house and soulful vocals, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's just going to have a little
Timmy
ignition
P.
on one of these.
Why aren't they?
Why aren't they playing?
They have to load or something.
I think all my internet is just super slow.
Yeah, it could be. We're streaming live. It's all live.
All the
TV,
streaming.
People. Okay, people. If anybody has another question, let's run this thing for another 10 minutes. Then we're online for 2 hours, and we should call it a day. Oh, we're already almost online for 2 hours, actually, because we started before 10. Yeah, man, it's a great addition of your time. Thank you so much for creating this time.
Of course, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on, mate. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. So people, if you have any questions, please drop them now. Anything about workflow, adding vocals, or about, I don't know, what's his personal preferences, what's your inspiration?
I'm sorry, I was just having a...
No, just go on building your track. I'll just deal with the community here.
I mean, it's not too bad.
That's not bad. You could use that, man. Totally. So
you could absolutely use it, yeah. And the thing is, because it's a C major and I've autoed it to the key of G minor, it's slightly pitched down, so it sounds a bit weird. But
but you can just import it and throw Ableton's stuff over it. Yeah, the Complex Pro, and you'll be fine. Better Edits says, Tim Perry, you're an awesome man. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you, mate. Thanks very much.
Yeah, man. It's great. Super, super nice that you took the time actually to show us your workflow. You threw some tips out there, man. Really nice to see your very, very effective way of working. It's very very cool done. It's like Josh last time had something. He had a track that was almost only audio samples, but it really worked. It's a really cool track. But sometimes it's just how you get there. Sometimes you'll be a bit more complex about things. Sometimes a bit more easy. So
absolutely. Just in terms of using samples and stuff, I love using samples because it gives you the backbone of the idea. Really, I mean, I'm not hugely musical on the piano, or the keys, so it's just that's how I like to use my creativity. Really, is using bits, using samples and things like that. So it totally depends on the individual, I think.
Yeah, and the loop cloud's also good addition.
Yeah, I feel like I'm massively shortcutting here, but it's honestly, it's brilliant. If you want some ideas and you want to audition samples rather than buying them and then trying it.
Yeah, so now you can just try them and then buy them. This is a great idea, you know?
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. It saved me a lot of money because you buy sample packs, you'll use like what one or two samples.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a Gloop Cloud has been, and you pay a monthly subscription to it, or you just really pay as you pay monthly subscription, or you pay as you.
Yeah. So it's just monthly.
Okay.
And then you get like a certain amount of points, and each sample is worth a certain amount of points, I think.
Nice.
And then any that sound alright. I mean, this vocal you could definitely do loads with.
Yeah.
I can't help it. The negativity makes me allergic. All I ever.
Yeah, I just want to make it on Complex Pro. I think I want to make it.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've used Complex Pro much actually.
It's like you mean?
Oh, sorry.
Warp,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Sorry, I do know Complex.
Yeah. I think it will sound better. It will sound better. There
it's
you go.
It's just a case of
Hey, we also have another question for you, sir. From a better. It's what do you do if you're an inspiring producer but don't have the cash for proper mastering?
Okay, so my advice on that would be to use. I'm going to go hugely frowned upon here, but if you're not confident in terms of using a limiter and a bit of compression and EQ and making it a bit louder to send to labels, then just use something like Landar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfectly fine for demos, and in fact, I think my Strictly EP was signed through Landar demos. It's just make sure. I think most labels assume at the moment that the music that you send isn't the finished article. So for some people it is. I personally will send over like self-masters, and then I will get them mixed and mastered once they're signed.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, so, because the music dictates, I guess. So
absolutely.
If you focus on the music, but I do believe that you should not send a pre-master. You should send something that's loud, not too loud.
Oh yeah.
But it should be like if you don't even have to. I always go to audio effect track, and then you've got mixing and mastering in Ableton Live, and use wide and warm master or punchy dance master. These things, if you chuck these on the master, you're fine. Just don't overdo it into the limiter. Make sure that the limiter is not taking a lot of your gains. But I think you should never send a pre-master, because if they listen to your demo and it's super soft, they go like, And
also using reference tracks as well. If you load up a reference track and listen against that, listen to your track versus that track, and if their track sounds totally different, try a series of 5 or 10 and just see what you think. And if yours is kind of not sounding too different, then you can be confident that the label won't mind necessarily. But absolutely don't send it.
But also realize that this last 10%, 15% of the production that will sound better than yours, because it's just a mastered, finalized product. If you can get it super close already, but
Landar's fine for just getting a decent. A decent sort of master going that you can send over. It's if it sometimes the masters I get out of that are like absolutely brilliant, and I'll never send them without checking them and referencing them. But like I say, for time saving and things like that's what I do.
Yeah, it's good to check it out. Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time, Timmy.
That's my pleasure.
Is there anything you want to plug? What are you gonna do soon? Where should people go buy your music?
I guess the Woofy Wednesdays tracks on 7 Dials, that's out on that's actually out now, and it's 19th on Beatport, I think, on Garage chart. So if anyone can help push that up, that'd be amazing. I'd love to see that one get a top 10. That'd be brilliant. But then next up I've got the Resonance stuff with Max Chapman. So that's in January. Then I've got an EP on Josh Butler's label,
Origins,
and then I'm back on Seb Zito's label again. In fact, I'm back on Max's again after that. So just lots of stuff.
Nice. You got subscriptions for these guys.
I'm kind of just narrowing down to sort of 4 or 5 labels that I'm just working with quite consistently. And I've got loads of demos I'm just kind of getting finished before going back to work next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but thank you. Thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it was nice. You know, it's nice to be to have people in the show that that like to show stuff. You know, and I think we've helped a lot of people today, and we've enjoyed ourselves. And yeah, man, thank you so much. And
my pleasure, mate.
We'll catch up soon. We'll be in touch. This collab is on, man. Let's send over some stuff. Yeah. Cool.
Cheers, guys. Speak soon.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. This was Timmy, and Timmy has been great sharing his ideas with us. And if you like what I do or like what we do here, please follow the youtube.com/lessons in life. You'll find episodes with Josh Butler, Ilke Klein, Nora Q, Tripping Jaguar, Luna Ludmilla, I don't know, and many, many more. In the future, I have Bad Liddy with Andreas Henneberg. I have Climate Smart, where I donate all the good cause stuff that we do here, because people that buy my courses or buy the masterclasses, they donate a bit of the money we donate to the forest in Brazil, because it needs to be circular these days, right? We need to help each other and the planet. So check out the website, lessonsinlife.com. You'll find all the tutorials and events there. You'll find under the events, you'll find the Do What You Like EP breakdown that I'm going to do. It's like a 2-hour masterclass where I show you all the tracks that I've made for Origins together with my friend Ari. And just thank you for tuning in. It's a pleasure that you guys are watching, so I'm not doing it for nothing. And subscribe to the Lessons in Life page. It would be great. And I'll be back. Not sure, not next week, but the week after. I think it's with Climate Smart, but that's, I think, the second week of January. So follow me, follow Lessons in Life, and see you online. Bye.